He asked, his voice barely a whisper, if Caleb could call off the engagement. Caleb's brow furrowed, a flicker of annoyance crossing his features. He looked down at Leo, his expression cold and unyielding, explaining that it was merely a business arrangement, a merger of families, and that he would have no emotional connection with her. With a sliver of hope, Leo then pleaded to be let go. Caleb didn't answer. His gaze was a complex storm of possession and something unreadable as he stared down at him. Then, a cascade of kisses fell, tracing a path from his neck downwards. No matter the rage and resentment that burned inside him, Leo's struggles eventually weakened, his energy fading until he could only submit. Once Caleb was satisfied, Leo asked again, his voice raw and hoarse, whether the engagement meant he would finally be free. Caleb shot him a sideways glance. He said nothing, but the silence was a definitive answer. It was impossible. Even with another woman officially by his side, Caleb would never relinquish his hold, would never stop keeping him a prisoner. Utterly drained, Leo lay on the sprawling bed, watching through half-closed lids as Caleb disappeared into the master bathroom. The sound of the shower, a steady, rhythmic hiss, was unexpectedly lulling. For the first time since hearing the news of the engagement, sleep, which had been a stranger for nights, miraculously claimed him. In his dream, the accident played out again in stark detail. His first year of college had been a blur of poverty, a constant, gnawing anxiety about where his next meal would come from. His life was a frantic cycle of classes and desperate attempts to earn money. One night, after a late shift at a diner, he was cycling back to the dorms when he collided with a pedestrian. It was entirely his fault. The man's companion demanded $50,000 for medical bills and damages. But he had no money. The man was aggressive, his fists clenched as if ready to strike. He had spat that if Leo couldn't get it from his parents, he should start borrowing, because his friend's leg was broken and $50,000 was getting off easy. But Leo had no parents. His tuition was covered by a scholarship funded by anonymous donors, and there wasn't a soul in the world who would lend him that kind of money. Just as despair began to set in, Caleb appeared. He intercepted the punch aimed at Leo's face, pulling him behind his protective frame. He had scoffed at the man, questioning if $50,000 was really worth resorting to violence. It was the second time Leo had ever seen him. Without hesitation, Caleb transferred the money. As the man left, gleefully counting his windfall, Leo was still in a state of shock. It took him a long moment to remember to thank his rescuer. Caleb waved it off, saying it was nothing. And for a wealthy heir like him, $50,000 truly was insignificant. The first time Leo had laid eyes on him, during freshman orientation, whispers had followed him about his family's immense fortune. Leo had been on stage giving the valedictory speech. Caleb was seated in the front row, his gaze incisive, impossible to ignore. When their eyes met, Leo faltered for a second, caught by the perfection of Caleb's face, before quickly looking away. As he walked off the stage, someone next to Caleb commented that the new freshman class seemed interesting. He felt Caleb's eyes on him again and heard him murmur in agreement. Later, Leo had stopped Caleb on campus, his hand nervously gripping Caleb's wrist. He had pulled a notepad and pen from his worn backpack and wrote out an IOU. He promised to pay him back. Caleb had raised an eyebrow at the piece of paper, a smirk playing on his lips as he asked when, exactly, he planned to do that. Leo, clutching his bag, nervously explained that he would pay it all back after he graduated and found a job. Caleb had tilted his head, his tone laced with a playful challenge. He pointed out that would be 4 years, and for such a long-term loan he might have to charge interest. Leo had agreed without a second thought, promising to pay the standard bank rate. But Caleb had shaken his head, stating that he didn't need money. He looked at Leo's stunned face, a slow smile spreading across his own. He asked if Leo knew how to cook. When Leo confirmed that he did, Caleb proposed a new arrangement. Leo could cook for him as a way of paying off the interest. Leo was hesitant, asking if that was all. Caleb added that he could also straighten up his place a bit if he felt like it. It sounded like he wanted a housekeeper. A sense of caution held Leo back until Caleb mentioned that his parents were invasive and he needed someone he could trust not to be bought by them. That sealed it. Leo gave his solemn promise. From then on, his life found a new, grueling rhythm. After classes, he would go to Caleb's off-campus penthouse to cook and clean. After tending to Caleb's needs, he would rush to his part-time job to earn enough for his own survival. This routine lasted for 3 months. Caleb invited him to his birthday party. He was surrounded by a crowd of friends, all pushing drinks on him, and Leo was pressured into drinking far more than he was used to. In the end, everyone else was passed out. It fell to Leo, who was barely lucid himself, to get Caleb back to his penthouse. As he was about to leave, Caleb suddenly grabbed his wrist and pulled him down onto the sofa. Caleb's eyes were half closed, his lips close to Leo's ear. He had whispered that Leo didn't have to live such a hard life. The warm breath was a ticklish sensation, making Leo squirm. Caleb must have been truly drunk. His voice was deep and husky, laced with a seductive quality, as he murmured that it pained him to see Leo struggle like that. Leo's heart had suddenly begun to race. Years later, he couldn't recall the exact moment their lips met or how they ended up in bed. He only knew that from that night on, everything between them changed. Caleb forbade him from working his other jobs. He was possessive and affectionate, capable of spending an entire afternoon just kissing. He gave Leo a CR card, but Leo never used it, secretly continuing to work behind his back. The relationship made his life even more hectic. To repay the $50,000, he gave up a graduate school acceptance and started job hunting immediately after graduation. Of his 6 roommates, he was the only one who faced constant rejection, despite being at the top of his class. One of his roommates, trying to be helpful, had commented on how strange it was that no company would hire him, given his credentials. She suggested he ask Caleb about it. At the time, Leo didn't grasp the implication. The truth came to him by accident. He overheard one of Caleb's friends bragging about how Caleb had spent $50,000 to turn the top student of their department into his personal housekeeper for 4 years. A housekeeper who also had to share his bed. The group erupted in mocking laughter. Another voice piped up, asking Caleb if the rumor about him blocking a certain someone's job interviews was true. Through the noise of the private room, Leo heard Caleb's distinctively lazy tone confirm that it was him. Someone else then brought up the accident, asking if Caleb had orchestrated that whole thing to trap Leo. Caleb, swirling a drink in his hand, had mused that a lifetime was probably too long. But for now, Leo was amusing. The word amusing felt like a plunge into icy water. Leo? Caleb's voice pulled him from the memory. He was disoriented, the line between dream and reality blurred. The anger from the dream was still fresh, and seeing Caleb's face looming over him, he reacted without thinking, his fist connecting squarely with Caleb's jaw. Caleb, caught off guard, recoiled with a sharp intake of breath. He rubbed his cheek, frowning. What the hell was that for? He had just come from the shower, a single towel slung low on his hips. The sudden movement had loosened it, and it threatened to fall. Leo watched as Caleb, with a casual indifference, ripped the towel off and tossed it aside before moving back toward the bed. Leo had put all his strength into that punch and feared retaliation. He quickly explained that he had a nightmare and didn't realize it was him. He knew Caleb wouldn't hit him back, not in the conventional way. Over the years of his captivity in this luxurious prison, Leo had lashed out before. Caleb never retaliated with fists. He used other, more humiliating methods to punish him. The earlier encounter had already left him exhausted, and he couldn't bear another. Caleb's menacing expression softened. A smile replaced the scowl as he lunged onto the bed, wrapping his arms around Leo and planting a kiss on his cheek. He asked what he had dreamed about. As he kissed him, his hands began to wander. Leo said nothing more, simply pushing him away with an irritated shove and turning his head to the side. For some reason, Caleb was in a good mood tonight and didn't press the issue. He stood up, completely naked and unabashed. He mentioned he had a function to attend and told Leo to be good and wait for him. Noticing the blush creeping up Leo's neck, Caleb chuckled with a touch of arrogance. He found it amusing that after 8 years, after all they had done, Leo could still blush at the sight of him. Leo closed his eyes and buried his face in the blankets, refusing to respond. After the rustling sounds of Caleb getting dressed ceased, he felt the bed dip as Caleb sat beside him again. He heard him say that Leo shouldn't overthink things, that the engagement was purely for show. Soon, the sound of footsteps faded, followed by the distant rumble of a car starting downstairs. Only then did Leo throw back the covers, gasping for air. He had no phone. Caleb didn't allow him any form of communication with the outside world. He could only lie there, watching the hands of the wall clock complete their endless circles. 8 o'clock. Caleb's engagement party was starting. A faint meowing came from outside his door. Ignoring the ache in his leg, he walked out of the room barefoot. A small cat immediately bounded toward him, rubbing against his legs and purring loudly. The housekeeper downstairs heard the noise and looked up. He asked if Mr. Leo was hungry, mentioning that Mr. Caleb had instructed them to prepare dinner. The housekeeper's eyes then flickered to his leg. He noted that it looked like rain was coming and offered to have someone massage his leg if it was hurting. Leo shook his head, handed the cat to the housekeeper, and retreated back into his room. A gust of wind blew through the open window, carrying the damp, heavy scent of an impending storm. He looked down from the balcony. It was a long way to the ground. A fall from this height could be fatal. In the 3 years Caleb had kept him here, he had tried many ways to escape, but he had never considered jumping. He used to believe that nothing was more important than life itself. But now he wasn't so sure. Caleb was getting engaged. He couldn't understand why Caleb still insisted on keeping him here, what purpose he served. Caleb had once said he would let him go when he got tired of him, but Leo had no idea when that would be. This endless, uncertain waiting was the most soul-crushing form of despair. A flash of lightning illuminated the sky as he climbed onto the railing. As the deafening crack of thunder followed, his feet touched the ground. No one saw him fall. He swallowed a cry of pain, ignoring the searing agony in his left leg as he scrambled over a flower bed and up the perimeter wall. The pain didn't matter now. All that mattered was that he was alive and moving. He had hoped the storm would buy him more time. But the housekeeper and the villa's security guards discovered his absence quickly. Their shouts and the beams of flashlights cut through the rain behind him. He dragged his injured leg, running with all his might. When he saw the headlights of a car approaching, he threw himself in its path without a second thought, intending to beg for help. He never expected the car to hit him directly. As darkness closed in, a bitter smile touched his lips. His luck was truly abysmal. When he awoke, he was in a hospital bed. A doctor was speaking to a young man whose back was turned to him. The doctor mentioned that while the patient was mostly unharmed, the blow to his head might cause some memory loss. The first person to notice he was awake was the housekeeper from the villa. He expressed his relief and informed Leo that he had already called Mr. Caleb, who had instructed them to take him home. Leo stared at him for a moment before asking, in a genuinely confused tone, who he was. The young man now turned to face him. Hearing Leo's question, a smile spread across his face as he addressed the housekeeper with a challenging tone. "He doesn't know you," he said, adding that if they tried to take Leo, he would call the police. He then dismissed everyone from the room, citing Leo's need for rest. The room fell silent. The young man stood at the foot of the bed, watching him with a playful glint in his eye. He asked if Leo wasn't curious about who he was. After a moment of hesitation, Leo asked. The man's eyebrows shot up, a mischievous look in his eyes. "My name is Julian," he said. "I'm your husband." Outside, the rain fell in a relentless torrent. The quiet hospital room seemed like the perfect place for an escape, but his left leg was in a cast, and his previously broken right leg throbbed with a dull, gnawing ache in the damp weather. He could barely stand, let alone run. He closed his eyes wearily, the name Julian echoing in his mind. It felt familiar, but he couldn't place it. And the housekeeper had seemed to recognize him. His thoughts grew sluggish, muddled by a combination of the head injury and the medication he'd been given. A heavy drowsiness took over. He had just drifted off when the door to his room was kicked open with a tremendous crash, jolting him awake. Before he could process what was happening, a powerful hand yanked him from the bed. "Leo," a voice snarled, "do I have to break your legs again so you can never run away? Is that the only way you'll learn to behave?" The movement sent a bolt of pain through his injured leg, and a cold sweat broke out across his skin. He was thrown back onto the bed like a discarded object. He looked up, trying to focus on the enraged figure before him, who demanded to know what this was all about. Just then, the battered door swung open again, and Leo relaxed the fists he had clenched under the sheets. It was Julian, holding a bouquet of sunflowers, their petals still dotted with raindrops. He walked straight to Leo's bedside, seemingly unfazed by the crowd of menacing figures now filling the room. He presented the flowers, explaining he'd seen them for sale at the hospital entrance. He asked if Leo liked them. As Leo gave a tentative nod, a hand shot out, snatched the sunflowers, and threw them to the floor. "Julian," a cold voice bit out, "do you think I'm dead?" The chilling tone sent an involuntary shiver down Leo's spine, and he instinctively tensed. "Well, if it isn't Caleb," Julian remarked, his tone deceptively casual. He acted as if he had only just noticed him, raising an eyebrow with a slight smile. His gaze drifted from Caleb's face down to the crushed flowers at his feet. Those were quite expensive. $200 for the pair. Cash or transfer? Caleb? His voice was light, but his eyes were sharp. Caleb ignored him, declaring that he was taking Leo with him. His words made Leo's anxiety spike. "Oh," Julian replied, still with an air of indifference. "I don't think so." He looked at Caleb. "Because, you see, he's my boyfriend." "Your boyfriend?" Caleb repeated, his voice dripping with disbelief. He turned his glare on Leo, his eyes cold and fierce. "When did you two meet?" The question was for Leo, not Julian. But Leo himself was bewildered. When he had first woken up, he had assumed Julian's husband comment was just a joke. "Aren't you overstepping a bit, Caleb?" Julian moved to stand between them, shielding Leo from Caleb's intense scrutiny. "Do I need to report to you when my boyfriend and I got together?" He let out a short, sharp laugh. "Besides, you of all people know I'm into men. Is it really so surprising that I have a boyfriend now?" Caleb paused, his gaze darkening as he looked at Julian. He seemed to recall something from the past, Julian, that he was daring to provoke him again. The smile on Julian's face stiffened. The two men stared each other down, the air in the room thick with unspoken history and animosity. After a long, tense silence that made Leo's head ache, Caleb finally spoke. "Julian, he's mine." Before he could finish, Julian cut him off, repeating his words with a meaningful inflection. "Yours?" He turned back to Leo. "Leo, do you know this man?" Two pairs of eyes were suddenly fixed on him. Leo tightened his grip on the sheets hidden beneath the blanket and, feigning composure, shook his head. He didn't know him. Huddling closer to Julian, he asked who this person was and why he was so aggressive. Caleb's expression hardened with a new layer of fury. He reached for Leo, but Julian blocked his arm. "Caleb, my boyfriend said he doesn't know you," Julian said, his tone dripping with provocation. "Please take your people and leave. He needs to rest." He repeated the word boyfriend, and with each utterance, Caleb's face grew colder. That day, Caleb received a phone call. After a hushed conversation with his housekeeper, he left with his entourage. The following 2 weeks in the hospital were a rare respite for Leo. The persistent rain finally ceased. Julian was pushing his wheelchair through the hospital garden. The sky was a brilliant blue, and the leaves on the trees were a vibrant, rain-washed green. A sparrow landed on the lawn nearby, taking flight the moment someone approached. Leo watched it go, a pang of envy in his heart. It must be nice to have wings. Julian had stepped away to take a call. Leo gently tested his casted leg, using the wheelchair for support as he tried to stand. He wobbled, nearly falling, but Julian returned just in time to catch him. As Julian held him, he frowned. "You're 6 feet tall, how are you so light?" Then, as if realizing something, he quickly changed the subject, reminding Leo not to move around while his leg was still healing. Being so close, Leo could smell the scent of sage on him. It was a pleasant, clean smell. He remembered smelling it on Caleb once, a long time ago. Thinking of the tension between the two men a few days prior, he couldn't help but ask, "Julian, who are you really?" Julian's movement paused as he was setting Leo back in the wheelchair. Leo felt a slight vibration from his chest. He was laughing. Even after Leo was seated, Julian remained in a half-embrace. "You've lost your memory," he said softly, his voice like he was coaxing a child. "You've even forgotten me? Baby, I'm your husband. Your one and only." He finished with a playful wink. Julian and Caleb were polar opposites. Caleb was volatile and always condescending. Julian was gentle and polite, with a good-natured sense of humor that made him seem like a well-mannered gentleman. It was hard to imagine someone so pleasant harboring such intense animosity toward Caleb. Sometimes Leo wondered what had happened between them. Seeing Leo's silence, Julian stepped back and asked jokingly if he didn't believe him. Before Leo could respond, a force suddenly yanked Julian away from him. Caught by surprise, Julian stumbled and fell onto the grass. Both of them looked up to see Caleb standing there, his arrival unnoticed. Well, Julian said, getting to his feet and brushing grass from his pants. "Look who's back. Shouldn't you be with your fiancée instead of hanging around a hospital? Getting a checkup before the big day?" Caleb's expression was icy. He scanned Julian with disdain. "You seem very interested in my private life," he sneered. "Have a crush on me?" Julian snorted. "You're as conceited as ever, Caleb." Caleb's eyebrow arched. It was clear he had come prepared. "I'm not here to trade insults with you today," he said. "I brought someone for you to see." He gestured toward the street. A black Maybach pulled up, and a man with delicate features and pale skin stepped out. The moment Julian saw him, his face changed. He turned to Caleb, his voice tight with anger, demanding to know why he had brought him here. Caleb's gaze shifted to Leo. "You're holding on to Leo as revenge against me," he stated flatly. "Now I've brought your old flame back. Stay away from Leo from now on." Julian was trembling with rage. He took 2 steps toward Caleb, but the man from the car rushed over and grabbed his arm, murmuring his name. While Julian was distracted, Caleb moved behind Leo's wheelchair, swiveling it around and pushing him away. Leo looked back at Julian, but Caleb's hand clamped down on his shoulder, holding him in place. "Don't disturb them," Caleb said coolly. "He's having a reunion with an old lover. He doesn't have time for you." Caleb pushed him to a secluded corner of the garden before stopping. He knelt in front of Leo, his eyes level with his. "I heard you lost your memory," he said, his tone neutral, his expression unreadable. But Leo knew him. This calm was the eerie stillness before a storm. Caleb was a madman. "I've forgotten a lot of things," Leo replied. A small, sad smile touched Caleb's lips. "Even me?" he asked, his handsome face suddenly looking tragic. Leo fought the urge to flee, keeping his voice steady. "I don't remember much from before. Julian told me your name is Caleb." He met his gaze and added a question. "Did we know each other?" Caleb placed his hands on the arms of the wheelchair, trapping him. He smiled again. "We've slept together. Does that count as knowing each other?" Leo fought back a wave of nausea, turning his head to avoid Caleb's probing eyes. He muttered that he didn't understand what he was talking about. Caleb just grunted and suddenly released him. He stood up and pointed to a derelict building in the distance. A figure stood on the roof, 7 stories up, holding a small, squirming cat by the scruff of its neck. "That little cat," Caleb said, turning back to Leo. "If it were to fall. Leo, do you want to save it? If you can tell me its name, I'll have him put it down safely." Leo looked at Caleb in disbelief. "Are you insane?" "I'm not insane," Caleb replied with a placid smile. "Just tell me her name, Leo, and I'll save her." Leo closed his eyes, unable to suppress the fury rising within him. He slapped Caleb across the face. Instead of anger, Caleb's smile widened. "You haven't been eating well, have you? That was so weak." Leo slapped him again with his other hand. Caleb seemed even more pleased. He looked at Leo, his voice a soft, persuasive whisper. "What's her name, Leo? Do you remember? You don't have to do anything. Just say her name and she'll be safe." Leo looked at the rooftop. The cat was struggling violently, held precariously by one hand. Caleb might view life as disposable, but Leo couldn't. He was cursed with a soft heart. "Muffin," he bit out through clenched teeth. The smile on Caleb's lips deepened. He stood up, cupping Leo's face in his hand, his thumb tracing his cheekbone. "Liar," he murmured. "I knew you hadn't forgotten. The way you look at me. There's no way you could have forgotten me." He sighed dramatically. "What a shame, Leo." Just then, Julian arrived to find Caleb stroking Leo's hand and asking if it hurt. "That punch did more damage to your hand than to me," Caleb was saying. "Let me get some ointment for you, Leo." Leo snatched his hand back and punched him in the jaw, this time not missing. "I don't need your fake kindness." Caleb stood up, smiling, and rubbed his jaw. He was about to say something when he saw Julian approaching. He turned his anger on him. "What do you want? Not spending more time with your old lover?" Julian's face was grim. He walked straight past Caleb and took hold of Leo's wheelchair. "It's time for your dressing to be changed. The nurse will be looking for you." Caleb stuck his foot out, blocking the wheelchair. "Julian, I've tolerated you for a long time for your grandfather's sake. Are you determined to keep this up?" Julian was unfazed, a cold smile on his face. "I just called your fiancée," he said. "I told her I saw you at the hospital and that you seemed to be injured. She should be here any minute. You should probably think about how you're going to explain this to her." As if on cue, a crisp female voice called out, "Caleb?" Caleb froze. Seizing the opportunity, Julian quickly pushed Leo away. Leo glanced back and caught a fleeting glimpse of a beautiful, striking woman. It was Caleb's fiancée, looking just as she did on television. After the nurse had finished, Leo looked out the door. The hallway was now filled with security guards, half belonging to Julian, half to Caleb. Julian handed him a glass of warm water. He informed him that Caleb had been taken away by his fiancée. Then he asked if Leo wanted to know who that man Caleb had brought with him was. Leo looked up at him. Without waiting for a reply, Julian continued. He explained that the man was essentially his ex-boyfriend, the first person he had ever loved. His family and Caleb's were old family friends, but he and Caleb had been rivals since childhood, always competing, always trying to take things from one another. The rivalry escalated when Caleb discovered his secret, that he was in love with a man. Julian said Caleb wasn't gay back then. He had only pursued Julian's boyfriend to mess with him. Eventually, his lover had left him for Caleb. Julian had a public meltdown and somehow his father found out. Caleb was the reason he was outed to his family. Soon after, he was sent abroad. Julian then told Leo that on the night of the accident, he had seen how much Caleb's housekeeper cared about him. He explained that the housekeeper had known Caleb since he was a child and was fiercely loyal, caring for nothing besides Caleb's interests. Seeing him so concerned about Leo, Julian knew that Leo had to be incredibly important to Caleb. Julian paused. Leo nodded, understanding. "So you saved me to use me against him?" He didn't expect Julian to be so direct. He admitted it without any pretense. That was the original plan, he conceded. And now? Julian didn't answer his question directly. Instead, he smiled and asked one of his own. "Leo, if I were to call in this favor, would you be willing to help me deal with him?" He looked at Leo, his eyes full of a hopeful expectation. But Leo didn't have that power. He told Julian he probably couldn't help him. The light in Julian's eyes dimmed slightly. Leo continued, explaining that he had betrayed Caleb once before while trying to escape, and now Caleb was extremely wary of him. The spark in Julian's eyes rekindled. "It's okay," he said, moving closer and sitting on the edge of the bed. "You can't help me, but I can help you. I can help you escape from Caleb." Julian's words were spoken with a sincerity that felt completely genuine. Leo's life had been a mix of incredible luck and terrible misfortune. He had encountered far more kind people than cruel ones. But his greatest misfortune was meeting Caleb. He had always been too trusting, but in his world, it seemed everyone was good, except for Caleb. And Julian had been nothing but helpful. He had his own vendetta against Caleb. Leo truly believed he would help him. He knew he couldn't escape Caleb on his own. Julian assured him that he had done well for himself abroad. Once out of the country, Caleb wouldn't dare to touch him. He promised that as soon as Leo's leg was healed, they would leave. His words were a powerful injection of hope. To leave this place, to get away from Caleb. If only it could be true. The day before his official discharge, he and Julian left the hospital. The plan was for Caleb to discover his empty bed only when the doctor came for rounds the next morning. But on the way to the airport, something went wrong. When he woke up again, he was back in the villa. Caleb was sitting beside him, holding a bowl of food. "Eat something," he said softly. "You've lost too much weight." Seeing Caleb's face, a wave of despair washed over him. Of course, it couldn't have been that easy. Caleb brought a spoonful of rice to his lips. "Leo, eat." His voice was cold, a command. Leo's eyes snapped open. He knocked the bowl from Caleb's hand, sending food scattering, and then flung the hot soup all over him. Caleb's anger flared, but it twisted into a cruel smile. "Your temper gets worse and worse. Who else but me would tolerate you?" His handsome face was infuriatingly close. Leo slapped him. "Get out." Caleb grabbed the hand that had struck him. Before he could say anything, Leo's other hand slapped his other cheek. "I said, get out." This time, Caleb captured both his wrists. His voice held a note of weary frustration. "I just want you to eat. Can we talk after you've had something? You'll get sick if you don't eat." The housekeeper was already cleaning up the mess on the floor. Caleb glanced at the food-stained bed, then stood up, lifting Leo into his arms and carrying him out of the room. He called out instructions to have the maid clean the bed for Leo's afternoon nap and to bring another meal to the study. This time, Caleb didn't try to feed him. He placed him in a chair and gestured for him to eat on his own. Leo turned his head away, refusing. The failure of his escape had killed his appetite. After a moment of tense silence, Caleb gave a cold laugh and moved closer. "Fine. If you're not hungry, we can do something else to work up an appetite." He seized Leo's jaw and his mouth descended. Leo struggled frantically, twisting and fighting until he bit Caleb's lip hard. The taste of blood filled his mouth, and Caleb finally pulled back. He touched the cut on his lip, a wild look entering his eyes. "Leo, I was willing to give you some freedom. When you were in the hospital, I only came to see you after you were asleep because I knew you didn't want to see me. I let you make friends, even when that friend was my sworn enemy. I let you run, I let you cause a scene. I was willing to play along. If you had run away alone, I would have even let you go, let you find a place you liked. I would have visited you occasionally. But why did you have to run away with Julian? That wasn't escaping. That was eloping. How long have you even known him? Longer than you've known me? You plan to run off to another country with him, thinking I could never find you?" Caleb's laugh was pathological, mocking. "In your dreams, this life, the next life, for all of eternity, you are bound to me. No one else will ever have a piece of you." Leo's fists rained down on him, striking his face until it was red and swollen. Each blow was delivered with all his strength. When he kicked Caleb away, he just crawled back. "I love it when you hit me," he panted, a sick grin on his face. He was a madman, a monster. Leo's attacks grew more vicious, but Caleb was relentless. He slammed into a nearby bookshelf, and a box tumbled from the top shelf, spilling its contents across the floor. There was a ring Leo had thrown away, a rusted utility knife, a broken lock. Seeing the scattered items, Caleb froze as if petrified. He released Leo and began to gather the objects, carefully placing them back in the box. When he saw Leo making a move to run, he lunged, grabbing his ankle and dragging him back. He held up the ring. "Do you remember this? You bought it for me with the money from your part-time job. Later, you took it back and threw it away like trash. You treat everything that way. The ring, me. I couldn't bear to lose it. I searched all night until I found it." He then picked up the utility knife. "This is the knife you used to cut me." He pulled up his sleeve, revealing several old, faint scars. They've healed. I thought the unpleasant things between us would heal too, like these scars. But you insist on tearing the wounds open again and again, showing me our bloody past. And this lock, the one you broke. Several years ago, he had used it to lock a cabinet. An old business rival had promised to help Leo escape in exchange for a confidential file. That file had cost Caleb's family dearly, and Caleb himself was nearly beaten to death by his father. In Caleb's mind, he had hurt Leo, and Leo had betrayed him. That made them even. And if they were even, Leo should stay with him. But some things could not be balanced out by an eye for an eye. And Leo had never wanted to be even. He just wanted to be gone. Commotion started downstairs. He could hear Julian's voice. At the sound of it, Caleb's brief moment of calm shattered, and the madness returned. How long has he known you, and he's already in love with you? He hissed, pushing Leo down onto the carpet. Leo, sometimes I just want to ruin that face of yours. Make people afraid to even look at you. Then no one would try to take you from me. Then you would finally be mine. The footsteps outside grew louder, along with the housekeeper's voice trying to stop Julian. The chaos only seemed to excite Caleb more. Be a good boy, baby. Don't let him hear you. If he saw you like this, do you think Julian would still want you? He was threatening him with his own dignity. Leo slapped him. Then he shouted toward the door. Julian, I'm in. A look of pure shock crossed Caleb's face before he lunged, clamping a hand over Leo's mouth. But it was too late. The study door burst open. In contrast to Leo's disheveled state, Caleb was impeccably dressed, save for the bruises blooming on his face. But when the door was thrown open, he was the one who looked more panicked. He reacted instantly, grabbing a blanket and throwing it over Leo before he could see who was there. Leo couldn't see Caleb's expression, but he heard his raw, ragged voice roar at the person in the doorway. Get out. The room was in chaos. His clothes were scattered on the floor. The noisy entrance suddenly went quiet. Julian rushed in, grabbed Caleb by the collar, and spat the word animal in his face. Are you even human? You're engaged. Why can't you let him go? What do you think Leo is to you? The two men were a tangle of limbs and fury. Julian threw a punch. Caleb retaliated with a kick, unleashing all the pent-up rage from Leo's earlier beating onto Julian. My business with Leo is none of your concern, he yelled, straddling Julian and wrapping his hands around his throat. You thought you could take him abroad? You think I can't touch you there? You're still so naive, Julian. They fought with a brutal intensity, each wanting the other dead. Curled under the blanket, Leo felt an overwhelming sense of exhaustion. The housekeeper called for security, who finally managed to pull the two apart and throw Julian out. Dinner was brought to his room. This time, he didn't refuse. He ate everything quietly. He hadn't eaten all day, and he was genuinely hungry. A person needed strength to do anything else. Even hitting someone felt like a gentle pat without it. Late that night, his leg began to ache again. It was probably going to rain. That time he had stolen the file, he had been so close to escaping. He was almost out of the city when Caleb's men caught him. Caleb had been incandescent with rage. Whether from the betrayal or the escape attempt, Leo never knew. He had broken Leo's right leg himself. Let's see you run now, he had said. He was a creature of contradictions. The one who broke his leg was also the one who flew in specialists from around the world to fix it. An arm suddenly wrapped around his waist. Caleb's steady breathing was warm against his neck. He carefully removed the arm and sat up. At dinner, he had managed to hide a fork under his bed. The housekeeper hadn't noticed. He felt around on the floor until his fingers closed around the cool metal. He crept to Caleb's side of the bed. He raised the fork, ready to strike, without a shred of hesitation. But he failed. Caleb's eyes snapped open, his hand shooting up to block the blow. The tines of the fork sank into his palm. Blood dripped onto his face. He stared at Leo, his eyes wide with a look of profound hurt. "You want me dead?" His voice trembled, tears welling in his eyes. He looked like a tragic victim from a soap opera. But he wasn't a victim, he was a monster in disguise. The sight didn't inspire pity, only a deeper disgust. Disappointed, Leo pulled the fork out and was about to go back to his side of the bed. But Caleb lunged like a feral animal, grabbing his wrist. "You hate me that much?" He was so tired of this, he didn't even bother to look at him. "I hate you. You've always known that." Caleb's grip tightened. In the struggle, Leo lost his balance and fell, the fork in his hand inadvertently turning toward himself. Caleb scrambled forward, intercepting it with his own hand. His already wounded palm now had several new puncture marks. "You'd rather destroy yourself than kill me?" he asked, his voice shaking as he snatched the fork away. He was being dramatic. It had been an accident. But in that moment, Leo realized that agreeing with his insane narrative would hurt him more. He wiped a smear of Caleb's blood from his cheek and smiled. "Yes, being with you is worse than death." Caleb looked like a cornered animal. He broke into a manic laugh, his hands closing around Leo's throat. "I disgust you that much? This afternoon you were willing to let them see you in that state just to call Julian in. You hate me and you like him, is that it?" Leo slapped him. Then again on the other side. "Stop your psychoanalyzing, you lunatic." The blows seemed to snap Caleb out of it slightly, and he loosened his grip. Before he could speak, Leo kicked him in the chest. "This is your house. Do you really think the housekeeper would have let Julian up to the study if it wasn't your idea? You wanted people to see me humiliated by you. Don't stand there and pretend otherwise." Caleb stared at him, his lips moving but no words coming out. "No, I just wanted to scare you, I didn't mean." His intentions didn't matter. The result was the same. Leo was too tired to argue anymore. The past few days, he had felt perpetually exhausted, with no appetite. Whatever Caleb managed to force down his throat, he usually threw back up. Caleb was terrified. He brought a doctor to the house. The doctor tried to talk to him, but Leo was too tired. He just wanted to sleep. As the doctor was leaving, he overheard Caleb telling him that Leo had tried to stab himself with a fork a few days ago. Buried under the covers, Leo cursed him under his breath. One day, after an 4 drip, he felt a bit more clear-headed. Caleb told him he could go out. He didn't know what the doctor had said to cause such a sudden change. "You can go wherever you want, see whoever you want," Caleb said, watching him with cautious eyes, searching for any reaction. "Leo, I broke off the engagement." But Leo remained listless, uninterested. True to his word, Caleb let him out. Every morning at 10 he would leave. He'd have lunch out and be home by 5 in the afternoon. Dinner with Caleb was mandatory. Caleb would ask him about his day, where he went, what he did. Leo never answered, just ate in silence. Caleb no longer exploded in anger, but Leo could see the frustration simmering beneath the surface. One afternoon, while sitting in a mall cafe, a beautiful young woman sat down opposite him. She looked familiar. He quickly realized it was Caleb's ex-fiancée. "I was always curious why Caleb would risk offending my family to break off our engagement," she said brightly. "But now that I see you, I get it. Leo, you're gorgeous. Even better than in the photos." He had expected her to cause trouble. Her friendly, effusive words left him completely baffled. "Hi, I'm Chloe," she introduced herself. "I was Caleb's fiancée." He managed a nod. "Hello." He glanced over his shoulder. There was no one obviously suspicious, but he knew Caleb had people following him. He was all too familiar with the feeling of being watched. Chloe followed his gaze. "Don't worry, they're too far away to hear us." She leaned forward conspiratorially. "Leo, Julian told me you don't like Caleb. That he's forcing you, keeping you prisoner. Is that true?" He looked into her curious eyes and said nothing. She continued, "Let me help you escape." Her expression was completely serious. Chloe was a pretty girl with a charming way of speaking. He could tell she meant him no harm, but he didn't understand her motive. "Honestly, I never really liked Caleb that much," she said with a giggle. "I only agreed to the engagement because he's handsome. Families like ours have to marry for alliances, so I might as well pick a good-looking one. But you're way better looking than him, so I want to help you." With that, she picked up his coffee cup. "We have to make this look good. The audience is still watching." Suddenly, she threw the coffee all over his shirt, her expression turning vicious. "This is for breaking us up," she snarled. He sat there stunned. After she left, he remained in the mall for a long time before heading home. On the way back, he ran into Julian waiting near Caleb's villa. Seeing the coffee stain on his shirt, Julian asked if Chloe had found him. Leo nodded. Julian explained that she was probably just upset about the broken engagement, but that she wasn't a bad person. Leo smiled faintly. "I know." Julian then told him his new plan. Next Friday, when Leo was out, he would get him away. "I won't let you down this time," he promised before leaving. At dinner, Caleb asked if he had a good day. Leo ignored him and continued eating. "Did Chloe find you?" Caleb put down his chopsticks. "Leo, I already broke things off with her. If she gave you any trouble, I'll get revenge for you." Leo gave him a brief, dismissive glance and lost his appetite. "Are you having me followed?" Caleb looked flustered. "It's not following, it's for your protection. I don't care where you go or who you see." He forced a smile. "You met with Julian when you came back." "I didn't say anything, did I? And what did you want to say?" The smile vanished from Caleb's face. "Leo," he snapped. Leo ignored him and went upstairs. It was very late when Caleb came to bed. He wrapped his arms around Leo, and he could smell the faint scent of tobacco on him. Leo hated the smell. Caleb normally would have waited for it to dissipate before coming into the room. He must have been truly upset tonight. "Leo, I'm sorry," he whispered, burying his face in Leo's neck. "I shouldn't have yelled at you. I was wrong. Please forgive me." He saw Chloe again a few days later. She pulled him into a stall in the men's restroom and showed him her plan. "Tomorrow is Friday. Caleb has a very important business event. You have to follow my plan exactly." He nodded, looking at her with gratitude. Friday was also the day of Julian's planned escape. As she was about to leave, he stopped her. "After I'm gone, will you still marry Caleb?" Chloe looked at him, puzzled. "What? Do you like him? You don't want me to marry him?" "No," he said quickly. "I think you're a good person. I don't want you to be stuck with a bastard like Caleb." She smiled and patted his arm. "Don't worry. After seeing you, I'm confident I can find an even hotter guy to merge families with." She turned to leave, then looked back. "By the way, don't trust Julian completely either. And it's probably best not to tell him our plan. There are no good people in this circle. Besides, he has a grudge against Caleb. Who knows when he might stab you in the back." She pursed her lips in thought. "Then again, don't trust me too much either." I'm probably not that great of a person myself." He smiled and watched her go. That night, Caleb held him from behind. "Leo, can you smile at me? Just once. Like you used to in college. Back then, you loved me. The love just spilled out of your eyes whenever you saw me. The card I gave you, you never used it. You had no money, but you still saved up to buy me a birthday present. Can you love me again? I swear I won't fail you this time. I was so happy when I thought you had lost your memory. I thought we could start over. But it was all a lie. Leo, can we start over now? I'll never get married. You can't get married either. We'll be together forever. Okay?" He rambled on and on. In the middle of the night, Leo was woken up by the sound of Caleb getting up to take a cold shower, something he did often these days. When he returned, still radiating a chill, he pulled Leo into his arms and sighed. "Leo, I love you so much now. Please have pity on me. Stay with me." The only response was the ticking of the clock. When Leo woke up, Caleb was gone. The housekeeper saw him to the door, a hesitant look on his face. In the end, he just smiled and said, "Be careful on the road, sir." "Mister, Caleb said today is his birthday and asked you to come back early. He's gonna cook for you himself tonight." Leo nodded and left. According to Chloe's plan, a car was supposed to be waiting for him. As he turned the corner, a van screeched to a halt, and someone pulled him inside. "The boss lady sent us to get you out of here," one of them said. Leo stopped struggling. The whole operation was loud and conspicuous, not at all like a covert escape, but it had Chloe's flamboyant style written all over it. He couldn't help but laugh. They dropped him off at a designated spot. The driver pointed to another car. "Boss lady said you know how to drive. You're on your own from here. We'll be spotted if we take you any further." Just as he got out, Julian appeared. Leo froze, wondering why he was there. He seemed to be alone. Leo watched him warily as he approached. Julian smiled. "You didn't follow my plan. Is it because you don't trust me?" "No," Leo said after a moment. "If I escaped, you would be the first person Caleb suspected. He would investigate you, and that would be too risky for both of us." Julian nodded in agreement. "You're right. Me not being involved is the safest way for you." He didn't seem upset that his efforts had been disregarded. He simply said, "Leo, I wish we had met before you and Caleb." But if only was a useless phrase. Life had no second chances. "Where are you going? Can you tell me? When things calm down here, I'd like to find you." His eyes were full of hope, but Leo remained silent. It wasn't because of what Chloe had said. It was because he now understood Julian's feelings for him, and he knew he couldn't reciprocate. Julian was a good person. He didn't deserve to be hurt by him too. "I understand," Julian said, his smile returning. He handed Leo a duffel bag. "You might need this. Take it." He held the car door open. "If I ever see you again after today, I hope you won't refuse me then. If we meet again, it'll be fate." He pushed Leo gently inside. "Go quickly. If I could track you here, so can Caleb. You're running out of time." He waved. "Safe travels." Leo nodded and drove off, following the route Chloe had planned. He kept going until Caleb stopped him by destroying himself. He was alone too. His car was a wreck. He crawled out and lay in the middle of the road, looking up at Leo. "Leo, if you want to leave, you'll have to run me over. Just kill me." Leo gripped the steering wheel and swore under his breath. He got out of the car. Seeing him approach, Caleb started to both laugh and cry. "Leo, help me. It hurts so much. I think I'm dying. Take me to a hospital, please." Leo didn't say a word. He hauled him to the side of the road. Before Caleb could react, he was back in the car, engine roaring. In the rearview mirror, Caleb couldn't even stand. He could only scream his name in despair before collapsing. 2 months later, in a foreign country, he received an anonymous email, their prearranged, untraceable method of contact. It was from Chloe. "After you left, I had the doctor put something in Caleb's medication. By the time he woke up, you were long gone. He tore Julian's life apart looking for you but found nothing. He fractured his right leg in the crash. It was treatable, but he refused treatment, so now it's permanently useless." Seeing him hobbling around on a crutch, I suddenly realized he's not that handsome after all. Nothing compared to you. By the way, Julian came to thank me before he left the country. I wonder if he figured out I was the one who helped you. Not that it matters. My dad's a big deal, no one would dare touch me. He had already moved several times, changing his identity with each relocation. As long as he didn't reveal himself, not even Chloe could find him. He replied with a single laughing emoji, then deleted the email permanently. He stepped out of the small cabin and took a deep breath of the crisp air of the vast, snowy wilderness. It was so cold it made him cough. A Siberian husky that had been dozing nearby heard him and came bounding over, jumping into his arms and wagging its tail playfully. When they were both tired, they lay down together in the snow. A light flurry began to fall, dusting them both in white. He smiled and let out a puff of steamy air. "This is good." The dog didn't understand, just panted happily, its tail thumping against the snow. He hugged it close and whispered again, "So good. Freedom. It was so good."